All right, good evening, Council. I'd like to call the meeting to order tonight for April 24th, our regular council meeting. We're going to start with a moment of reflection and then jump right into the agenda. So we'll start with a moment of reflection now. All right. For the approval of the agendas, we have a consent agenda. Is anyone prepared to make a motion on the consent agenda? Not a lot of content on this one, but Councillor Fox makes the motion. Call it the question, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. In our regular meeting agenda, we'd like to add item 7 under new business, which I believe was regarding, sorry, can't remember what it was. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, a request for a community hall consideration. And with that addition, a motion to approve the agenda with one modification. Councillor Fox makes a motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. And for the good of council, does anyone have something they wish to share with the whole council? Gotta be some exciting things going on around town. Councillor Monteith.
It's nice to see a good work party at Little League Diamonds and the painting. It's a little shocking, the blue, since it's been purple and yellow since I've been in town 37 years ago, but we can live with it. But it's good to see activity on the Little League Diamonds.
And aren't the Royals trying out tonight and Wednesday night?
Yes, they have rejuvenated themselves, or are trying to anyway. They've been out for, well, since before COVID. So hopefully there's enough kids around that can play. We can get them playing again because I miss it.
Okay, well, that's exciting news. Anyone else have something they'd like to share? Who's gonna speak? Councillor Fox? I believe Councillor Fox was going to share about our community cleanup coming this week, Wednesday night afternoon. You can grab Mackenzie's otherwise. There you go, Councillor Fox.
That one's working. So just a reminder that the community cleanup is this Wednesday from 4:30 to 6:30. Meet behind the GR Davis Administration Building here, and there's a barbecue for all volunteers afterwards.
Very good. Anyone else? I don't think there was a lot of happenings in town this weekend, was there? I see Albertette. It's not liking the batteries or something.
Mine might have been user error. Just a note that the library board is looking for members, volunteer members. So that's a great opportunity to serve the community and be part of our wonderful library. Yeah, they're actually open 3 vacancies. So lots of room there for eager volunteers to be part of our library board. Another exciting news, we're looking to launch our new website coming up next month.
Yes.
So we're really eager, excited about that.
So like next Monday, I hear, right?
Yep.
Very good. We're looking forward to that. If there is no other comments or feedback, then we'll roll right into new business because we have no public hearings or unfinished business. So bylaw 1968. This is our 2023 mill rate bylaw, and we will ask our Director of Finance, Chris Holbeck, to introduce this bylaw to us.
Thank you, Mayor Fader and Council. Good evening. Tonight we are doing second and third reading of the 2023 mill rate bylaw. It was to Council at the last meeting for first reading. Some highlights I put in my submission. Council reduced the residential mill rate by 9% and the non-residential mill rate by 10%. We tried to do some good information for residents and property owners this year. So I gave Miranda some very dull facts about the changes in our assessment and the mill rate and our taxes. And between herself and Mayor Fader, they made a great video, and it should be very user-friendly and very informative to all property owners this year. So that was very exciting. Other than that, for the mill rate bylaw, the only other real substantial, well, it's not even a substantial change, the only other change from last year was that the minimum tax has increased from $348 to $355 this year. And then I would take questions if council has any questions. Other than that, we are running taxes on Wednesday, the 26th. So that's why this is here for council for second and third reading, and we will be passing the operating budget, which this is tied to tonight too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone prepared to make a motion for second reading on bylaw 1968? Councillor Wolfson, who makes that motion? Is there any further questions for administration on the mill rate bylaw? No questions, no debates. No requests for information. This is a big deal, our mill rates. All right, so if there's no questions, no comments, Chris, we'll let you off easy tonight and we'll call it the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. And anyone prepared to make a motion for third reading of bylaw 1968? Councillor Fox makes that motion. Again, any further discussion or questions? If not, we'll call it the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion to pass our 2023 mill rate bylaw has been passed. You're welcome. And moving on to 2023 operational budgets, and our Director of Finance, Chris Holbeck, will introduce this budget to us as well.
Thank you, Mayor Fader. Tonight, since now we have passed our 2023 mill rate bylaw, which is the bylaw that determines our taxation for this year, and it is the amount of taxation that we need that pays for the deficit between the town's revenues and the town's expenditures without taxation. So it ties in directly to our operational budget for this year. I put in a lot of detail into the comments in the operational budget. I don't know how many people in the community read it, but I think it's good information, just some of the bigger things that are going on in 2023 for us and the reason for some of the changes. So I hope it's informational. I'm hoping to work on it and make it a little bit more interesting, like the mayor and Miranda did for the mill rate bylaw. We're going to try and make this thing a little bit more, I don't know, interesting, visually interesting, less words, more pictures maybe, but still having good information for citizens and property owners in the town of Fort Macleod. So it is the operational budget includes the taxation revenue that just flows out of the mill rate bylaw that council passed. It includes all of the revenues that the town generates through its goods and services, and all the expenditures for all of our wages, goods and services, contracts, amortization is in there. We do a bunch of adjustments on the last page to get it to balance to zero, which is a requirement of the Municipal Government Act. So that's my introduction to it, and it is here tonight to be approved by council so we can continue with our operational year, and I will take all questions. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. So the recommendation is to approve the 2023 operational budget. Is anyone prepared to make a motion as per the recommendation? Councillor Monteith. Any questions for administration on our 2023 operational budget plan? We've been through it quite extensively over the last, I would say, almost 6 months. Going back and forth, we reviewed it over the last month, just checking things off with the new assessment values. So overall, it's been screened, it's been worked on. We thank staff for their work on another clean and well-balanced budget. If there's no other comments, we'll call it the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to intermunicipal recreational funding, and our CAO, Anthony Burdett, will speak to this. Looks like mostly information at this point, so I don't think we need too much action, but Anthony.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So before you have a letter from the MD. As part of our intermunicipal recreation funding agreement, the MD agrees to pay 50% of fixed costs, which is defined as utilities, insurance, and telecommunications. And this is for the recreation that we enjoy, that also MD residents outside of the community also enjoy in our town. And given the extraordinary impacts of inflation and rising costs, the MD decided to review the costs this year, as opposed to waiting. I think it was they didn't have to do it this year. I think it was next year when they were required to do it. But they decided to do it a year early because of the increased costs. And so we submitted all the information we had to, given the costs of our arenas and our recreation facilities here. And they ran it through their calculation. And now, in previous years, the MD would give us an annual allotment of $62,000 as their portion of our recreation. Now they are contributing $77,000 for our recreation facilities, which is very much appreciated that they did this earlier than they had to, but they chose to do so as a good partner of this agreement. So there's no motion required by council. They chose to do this in their agreement. We've already accepted the agreement, and we're already, I guess the intermunicipal recreation fund is already something we both agreed to, but we just thought this is very much appreciated, and we should accept his information tonight.
All right, anyone prepared to make a motion to accept this information? Councilor Van Hagenbos, any questions for the comments on this? We do agree. We want to just extend appreciation to the MD of Willow Creek for their courtesy on this matter. And yeah. If there's no other comments or questions, we'll call it the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to new business number 4, land sale listing. This is for the Manning industrial lots, and we'll have our CAO, Anthony Burdett, speak to this as well.
Thank you, Council. We have the Manning lots that have been, unfortunately, a long time coming, as they've been held up in some of the administrative process, not on our end, but they've been taking a while to get to market. And so with industry professionals and market research, we've determined a value that we would like to list the Manning lots at. And so, as you can see, the lots being in order from Manning lot 14 to 21, 88,800, 84,900, 86,500, 93,500, 88,600, 91,500, 104, 200, and 100,700. And there is one lot in there that is not part of the Manning section, but a recently made available lot, Lot 1, Block 5, Plan 132, 1327 JK at 79,300. We believe that these rates are competitive and comparable to what's being asked in the industry right now, and so we'd like council to approve these prices so that we can list them and start selling them.
All right, thank you. Anyone prepared to make a motion as per the recommendation? Councillor Poitras makes the motion. Any questions for administration on any of the listed prices? Councillor Monteith?
I presume because we're listing them at these prices now that they're all set to go. We've got titles been changed and all this other stuff that we've gone through is all done and they can be sold.
From what I I'm told they are weeks away from being entirely complete. They're not perfect at the very end stage of that process, but we're very, very close. And so at this point being listed, yeah, we're just about there.
Any other comments or questions? Besides listing them on our websites, do you know how they will be advertised or promoted?
So with these specific lots and some of our other industrial lots, we do intend to enlist a realtor to assist, get them listed on Manning, on realtor.ca, the Manning lots and others. We also are working with Alberta Southwest, connected with Connect for Commerce to get them listed there. So when people come to looking for land in the area, they could see commercial and industrial opportunities there. So we are really going to try to aggressively promote these and move them as quickly as possible.
If there's no other comments or questions, it's been a long time coming. I think probably 2 years, right, since we started on construction. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so this is good news, and hopefully they, move quite quickly. So we'll call the motion to question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion to approve the lot listings from Manning has been carried. Moving on to item 5, Alberta Southwest. We have an energy efficiency proposal that was presented to council, and I think administration through our CAO has reviewed it. And we'll have our CAO speak to this one as well.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this invitation comes through Alberta Southwest again, and they've invited us to partake in this opportunity where an energy manager who currently works with the town of Pincher Creek and the MD of Pincher Creek is making an application kind of for a larger group and hoping that applying for this group municipal energy grant, the possibilities will be greater. And we've had our team look over it. Our Director of Operations, Adrian Pedro, has taken a look, and he actually filled out some of the information they needed and given them the added information. There's no cost to the town at this point for any of this opportunity, and so it does seem to be a great opportunity to apply for some potential energy saving dollars that could come dependent on the area. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer when there's no cost to the town and someone else is doing the work. But, and just another step that we can find opportunities to make things more efficient and more green.
Anyone prepared to make a motion as per the recommendation? Councillor Monteith. Does anyone have any questions regarding what was presented? Councillor Monteith.
It says in the letter from Bev Thornton that the spreadsheet has to be in by March 31st. Did we meet this deadline?
We did not meet the March 31st deadline, but there was a follow-up request after that extending the deadline. So we have given them the information as council was on board with it, just we hadn't officially supported it in a council meeting.
Very well. Any other questions? If not, we'll call the motion to question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to the town of Barrhead EPR exemptions, and our CAO will speak to this one as well.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the EPR is the Extended Producer Responsibility, and this program is essentially adding costs to some of the end users of resources and materials. I'm not very, very familiar with it, but kind of at a surface level. And this letter comes from the town of Barrhead, recognizing that the local newspaper industry is already, well, first off, they're a very valuable piece of any small community, and the value that they bring is really high. And they're already under kind of the financial pinch due to the online environment and those types of things. And so they're petitioning that and local newspapers and the industry itself is exempted from the extended producer responsibility so that those costs don't get added on to, our small town papers. So they're looking for letters of support and letters of support for their cause. As we reflect on this one, with our very own local newspaper, we find tons of value with the work that they do at the Gazette and how that is such an important piece for not only town business but community goings on. And it would be our recommendation that the town supports this cause. That for local small town newspapers, any little bit could really help, and if this helps them to be one of the exempt industries, I think would go a long way.
Very good. Anyone prepared to make a motion as per the recommendation? Councillor Fox. Any further questions on this? I'm assuming we do up another letter similar to this, and then, or just add our name to their letter.
We could do either. I think another letter kind of mirroring the sentiment, I think has a little more strength to it rather than just showing our support. And my administration would be willing to put that together for sure.
Do you think this was something Alberta municipalities would take on as an emergency or something? Be interesting to see, because if all of Alberta municipalities got on board, then I think that would be a better avenue in some ways. Okay. But either way, the motion's on the floor that we would support such an action. Any other questions? Seeing none, call to question. On favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Our last new business item was a request to have our community hall rental rate reduced, and we'll ask our Director of Community Services, Lisa Gillingham, to speak to this.
Thank you and good evening, Council. We've had a request come from Shina House to host a 5-day training seminar at the community hall. Part of that training seminar that they're doing is called the Red Path Accredited Facilitation Program. Some of the topics that they discuss in here is related to those working with homelessness, individuals with addiction and trauma, as well as those that are working in shelters, child and youth group homes, treatment centers, and schools. This is a nonprofit organization, and in the past we have reduced rental of town facilities for fundraisers that a lot of not-for-profit groups do. This is, in my recollection, one of the first times that we've had a training session request a rate reduction. So it is administration's recommendation that because they are a nonprofit, that we do a 50% rate reduction. It is 5 days of use of the hall. There are 3 days that our seniors walking program will not be able to use the hall because of this, and they do pay, although a nominal fee, they do pay. So we are asking them to not attend the hall on those days that the training is there. So we are displacing somebody also for 3 days of this training. But the training is for, great programs and for a local organization to be able to use the hall for 5 days is positive too. So happy to answer any questions that I can.
Thank you. Anyone prepared to make a motion based on the recommendation? 50% reduction, Councillor Monteith. Any further questions, debates? If not, we'll call to question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And no administrative reports tonight, but we'll do that as on quarterly basis as they come available. So our next order of business is an in-camera discussion on 3 items: personnel, land, sale, and legal. So I'll call for a motion to go in camera. Councillor Van Hagebos makes a motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. All right.